to the LARP News Podcast. My name is Dave, and it's the Christmas special.
Ho, ho, ho!
We're here with my friend Ian.
Hello.
And we've got a special guest with us, Ellie.
Hi.
And we're gonna like our usual Christmas special stuff is gonna be like, we tend to just waffle on, bring our best wishes to you wherever you are in the world. And we're just going to kind of ramble on, really, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a weird one, because we had our 100th episode-y thing recently. Mm-hmm. So we didn't really know going into this, bar our exciting announcement, which we'll get to, what we were going to do for the Christmas special. But in the spirit of it, we wanted to do something. And obviously we've got Ellie with us, who is like actually like an awesome guest to have, but we're going to pretty much just talk about Christmassy stuff and not do the whole thing of interviewing you, which we really should do at some point, because you are actually...
One day.
We should do another episode where we actually like, get you on properly and interview Ellie about costume and stuff, because...
Ellie, maybe you just want to let us know, like, what do you do? Like, what have you done? Things like that. Like,
well, out of character, I work in film and TV. I make costume, or I used to make costume, and now I work on set and look after the actor's costume. Deal with the continuity, dress them, make sure they look good on camera, and that's kind of where I focus at the moment.
You're a wizard, Ellie.
Totally, like some of the costume stuff that you've made and the kit you've made for your LARP characters and other people. Actually,
it's top drawer.
It's top drawer.
Thank you.
We will have to. I think we'll have to put a pin in some of it, and we'll actually have to come back and assault you with many a question.
I think another crafting episode would be good.
It'd be really cool.
Maybe you, Ellie, and like another third person who's actually really good at crafting.
I think having you there is really good.
Nah, my craft. No.
But it's nice
to compete with someone else who we do a little team.
Well, yeah.
No. I mean, one person who's really good would be with one of you, and we can both come up.
Right. Right,
you take can't cook, won't cook.
Yeah.
God, someone should film that and then edit it.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it, if we actually had done that and it's just been sitting around for ages.
Well, I don't know, it will be at least 6 or 7 hours worth of
footage to work through.
And that's a lot
longer than that.
It's a lot
longer than that.
With multiple forms of audio that was recorded.
Gin and tonic.
And then it's and then by the end of the recording it's this really abstract camera pointed at stuff with people just talking among themselves.
As it was being filmed, you can slowly see the degradation in the camera operating quality as we realise we're increasingly running out of time.
Yeah. And it's dark outside, despite it being the summer. And if someone was going to make can't craft, won't craft, I do think that's a really good idea. God, we need an editor so badly.
Yeah, jeez.
A camera person.
But no,
a camera person. Oh my God! And someone to do audio instead of me having to. Anyway, we're getting.
It's a Christmas special. It's great to have had. I think it's just nice to always have this space to talk about the year in general and just talk more broadly on everything.
Hey, let's get into exciting stuff first, okay? Yeah. Last year we did a charity raffle. It was really successful. We raised £270 for a wonderful charity called Young Lives Against Cancer. Mm-hmm. What they do is they provide financial support, because basically if a young person in a family has cancer, it costs an awful lot of money to help look after that person. So what this charity does is it helps out with financial support, accommodation for people to stay near hospitals. They have a thing called Home from Home, which is homes where literally people can feel comfortable in, and instead of having to stay in a hotel, so they can feel a bit more they can rest and relax and have a nice time. They also provide money and a whole bunch of other stuff, and they want the young people involved to really flourish through this time. It's a charity that's very close to our hearts in particular because of a very special young man called George Hatfield, who unfortunately passed away last year. He was an avid listener to the podcast, became a friend of mine, and unfortunately he did pass away due to cancer. He was a very young man, and it touched me personally very deeply. And therefore we try and do, as a podcast, it means a lot to us that we can do something to help other people out in the same situation as him. Last year we raised £270.
Massive thank you to everybody who donated.
Just amazing.
So kind of everyone.
Just amazing. We got an arming sword off armchair armies? Light armories.
Yeah.
And we raffled it, and that we actually got a letter from Young Lives vs Cancer, and it said that it would could pay for 7 families to stay overnight in their home from home accommodation.
That's very smart.
So there's very real world stuff that comes off this, and I can't tell you how proud I am of this. With this in mind, as with anything in life, I would like to go bigger this year. No. So I had a big old think about what could we possibly do to try and get like a cool thing that's going to be raffled. I've banged on about my rod from Gnosis Studios.
It's a very impressive rod.
It is an impressive rod.
He's been trying to show, well, like everybody, his rod coily.
Hey, I was at an event recently where I had my Bowie knife on my thing, and I pulled it out, and someone said, "That's a very impressive knife." And I went, "If you like my knife, you should see my rod." And it is. People stop me and are like, that rod is incredible. I should start charging like 5 rings to look at it and 10 rings to touch it, you know? Because it is beautiful.
There's if you can get on our Facebook page and have a look on there, it's worth a look. It's just to see the quality of, because it was done by Gnosis Studios.
It's Gnosis.
Gnosis Studios.
We've been getting it wrong the entire time.
Hey,
the G is silent.
Hey, look, if you're gonna, that's not on me.
Hey,
look, if you're gonna have a silent letter.
Hey, exactly. Also, like when you're trying to say like these people are great, like
I know
Gnosis, like you're not gonna find it. Gnosis. You're going to find it. Anyway, Gnosis, we're going to get it right from now on.
Gnosis Studios, but it's a really beautiful thing.
I was like, hey, I want something to potentially give away, and I was like, we don't fuck around here. We only want to do what we consider to be the best in the hobby, right? Yeah. In my opinion, I think Gnosis over the last year have been producing some of,
stuff.
if not the best stuff in the LARP sphere at the moment.
I bought 2 things from them this year: my Warhammer and the Bollock Dagger.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And so flavourful. Yeah, everything is.
They're
so
really well made, but there's also I love their stuff, right? Especially for me having a customly made weapon from them, which is an absolute showpiece. Has made me being like, hey, who am I going to contact? Of course I'm going to contact Gnosis. And I literally sent them a message, and I was like, I gave them a bit of background. I was like, hey, we should do this raffle. How would you like to maybe part with some an item?
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, so they were like, hey, we'll make something custom for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. That's amazing. And they were like, what sort of thing do you want? I was like, which system is it going to be? I'm like, usually we have Empire players, but something that would be able to be used in different systems. He was like, hey, I can make you a rapier with a custom fucking hilt, carbon fiber, and it's like, yeah, baby, let's fucking go, you know?
At time of filming, it's being built.
It's
and they sent us they sent us a little teaser picture, my friends.
Little taste.
It's a flamblage rapier, which is very.
It's gonna be so good.
It's very good.
I think this is one of those situations. Nice. I'm like, is it unethical for me to enter my own raffle?
It's so good.
And the winner is Dave. I won. You know, I know. For my eventual heel turn when I join the league. Do you know what I mean?
Slowly but surely,
you'll get the claws in.
Crimson Reapers.
Ellie is part of the Crimson Reapers. We've spoken about.
You've probably heard us bang on about the Crimson Reapers, and here we have one of our core culprits.
Yeah, and also don't trust them because they steal our good players. They're like, it's
literally took your husband away.
Husband. They're maybe I can't talk about it, but they're taking things that are precious to me away from me, and it's but they're a great group.
Really good fun.
But getting back to it, so Gnosis, they're building us this fancy carbon fiber rapier. It's gonna be fucking baller. And let me put it this way: my rod stops people in the street, and they want to come and touch it, they want to come and talk to me about it, they want to know where I got it from, and it's the only one on the field, and it's so fucking thing. It's awesome. This rapier is gonna be
awesome.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
If you would like to enter the raffle, I think this year we're gonna do it till the end of December.
Yeah.
So the end of December 2022, on the 1st of January, I will be doing the draw. In the meantime, you can PayPal us. I can't think of the exact PayPal address off the top of my head. I will put it in the description. All of this will be in the description.
Yeah.
Basically what I'll do is, it's £5 per raffle ticket. You'll be put into the raffle. You can buy multiple tickets. If you want to buy £20, £40, £100 worth of fucking raffle tickets, you can. Every single penny of that will be going to Young Lives versus Cancer. If you live abroad or anywhere else and I can't get it to you conveniently by not going to the same LARPs or not living near or anything like that, I will personally, Dave, ship it to you out of my own pocket.
Yeah.
Every single penny of that raffle money will be going to Young Lives versus Cancer, and we'll be doing really fucking good work. So not only do you have a chance to win an absolutely ball of fucking weapon that's going to make everybody swoon, you get to do really good shit for it. So please go to our Facebook, look in the description, give us a couple of quid, like £5 a raffle. If you want to go bigger, all of it's welcome. But
it really does make a difference, guys.
Like I hope this is let you know how much this means to me. Hello, this is actually future Dave. Since recording this episode, we actually have had a couple of things develop with the charity raffle. Instead of just the Gnosis weapon, which is a really cool item in its own right, we have had some very kind offers. Northern Kingdoms, a Witcher LARP, have kindly offered to give us a free ticket to one of their events. And also a kind benefactor has bought us a Empire ticket, an open ticket. So instead of just having one prize you can potentially win, we're going to have 3 different prizes that you could potentially win. We'll raffle them off individually. So you all have now triple the chance of winning something cool from the raffle. I'll leave you alone and get you back to the episode. Brace yourselves. It's a very long and rambling chat. Thanks. Bye. Let's see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to start trying to fleece all of you for charity money. Go to gnosisstudios.net. That's the people that are providing this for us. They're a wonderful bunch. Yeah. We would never be like, hey, we're going to try and give you something that we didn't believe in.
Oh, it's top quality.
Absolutely
I can
awesome.
attest to that,
and if you do see me around with my rod, please come and ask.
And pay, evidently.
Well, maybe. It's very...
I've got this image now, it's just people just chucking rings at you.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take it.
He is the poorest ambassador.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the poorest hat wearer. Like, not even the poorest ambassador, I'm the poorest hat wearer.
This guy. I'm Gellert Ashmore.
Oh, there goes Gellert Ashmore and the saddest Navari. Right, other points of news. Empire has employed some new members of staff.
Yeah. Claire Evans, just awesome person to have get introduced into the system.
Dude, we've interviewed Claire twice on the podcast now. Once for the Academy and once for the new player thing. I've had a few interactions with Claire over the years. I am a massive Claire Evans fan. Like, I think she's fucking awesome. She's going to be the Empire game director, which is really exciting. So she's going to kind of take over that role of answering emails and a bunch of other stuff, and basically being a lot of the figurehead that Matt's
I think it's
doing.
just a great move. I think in general it really helps in a whole bunch of different ways. I think it's just a really smart move to make and a good time to do it as well.
I think it's like the person as well is like... Yeah.
It's a big job, and she's the right person for it.
My name's Dave, and I fully support this message. Yeah. She's awesome. Yeah. And like, she's helped out. I mean, like, let me put it this way: I know there's a lot of people that have. I mean, we've all been new players. A lot of us have gone to the new player stuff, and like the way she helps people into the game and her passion for it, I think like
it's a great fit.
I can't talk highly enough about her. Dave Kilbride is coming on as part-time plot support. Very good.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, I've bitched and moaned a little bit on the podcast about how Empire has grown significantly and how there's been a kind of slight creaking from the absolute volume of what they've been doing.
But I think they've recognised that over this time, and actually it was even mentioned on they did a Claire and Andy in the morning, which is basically a YouTube, which is worth watching. It's just basically a kind of a catch up of like kind of their general sort of thoughts on.
That cheeky scamp Andy Raff.
That cheeky scamp, yeah.
Yeah.
You love to hate him.
What's he doing? He's a little cheeky cheeky boy.
He likes pulling your strings.
He likes pulling... we like pulling each other's strings, I think, is how it should be.
But no, it's. I think there's been a bunch of ways where I think Empire's various systems have been tested, and I think it now is the time to kind of expand and get more people in and expand those systems to accommodate the growing player base.
Empire's massive. It's fucking huge. Like, it was a game that was probably built for like 1,500 people, and now we're like up to almost 3,000 players, right? Like, it's enormous. It's a monolith at this stage. Like, I have no idea what it's like to steer something like that, manage all of that. Hell, I don't want that in my life, right? Like, right? Like, can you imagine if someone said to you tomorrow, "Here's the keys to Empire"? You'd be like, "No, thank you. No, thank you at all." Like, I think they do a great job. I think like Claire's a great choice. I think Claire and Andy in the morning, they gave us a little shout out, by the way.
Oh, that's very cute.
Hey,
thanks.
Like,
that means the world, actually.
Yeah, and I poke fun at Andy Raff, and I know sometimes he does listen to podcasts, but like, I actually love Andy. I think he's fucking brilliant. Check out his OnlyFans. There is they are thinking about buying a site.
Yeah. And they started a new company for this endeavour, which I'm going to get the name
Unknown
of.
Worlds.
Unknown Worlds, that's it. I mean, me personally, I wasn't in a financial situation where I even could consider it. But I think it was an interesting project, and I think, you know, it's the kind of that dream that we've all had, that one day Empire will get a site and the things that are possible.
They're looking for 200 acres.
Yeah.
200?
200 acres.
I can't even fathom how big that is. What is the do you know what the acreage is right now that we play on?
Nowhere near that.
Really?
Yeah. I know that, like, for the next one,
they've got some extra space. They've had some talks with the farmer, and they've managed to get a bit of extra space because things have started to reach the point where the field's getting more congested, and that's been a challenge.
They've bought the investors. They've managed to raise 800,000. I don't know what Profound Decisions bring to the table. I don't know what a mortgage would like. I don't know any of the financial stuff. Whenever we talk about this stuff, by the way, it's like always caveat: we're idiots. We don't know what it's like. We're not inside PD. We have no direct line to them. Like, we don't know,
and we like keeping it that way as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We like being keeping that distance between the two of us. I think is important to our credibility. Anyway, but rumours. And these are all rumours. They're going to be some cool shit.
Yeah?
They're talking about, like, building permanent structures, toilet blocks, more than 4 events a year, renting out certain spaces to other LARPs. Yeah. We're talking about, when I talk about, like, LARP infrastructure, right? Like, LARP infrastructure is a hurdle we need to overcome, right? This could be amazing, right?
Oh, a complete game
and I put that like
it's done right.
Giant caveat, right? Yeah. Like, we all want it to be fucking amazing, and I really hope this becomes what it could potentially be. Sure. I can't wait till I'm an old fogey, running around being like
your own little. I don't know. What's the equivalent of a house in Navarre?
Oh, I don't know, like a yurt, maybe. Yeah,
a tree house in
Navarre. A tree house.
You've got tree house.
The Geller Ashbourne tree house.
But not even that. I think
I'm just yelling out, "I told you yarn would be a problem."
No, I think actually, like, a lot of it is just having good plumbing, good cleaning, washing and toiletry facilities. Is actually just having those fixed things and well distributed will be a huge boon, and I think that will probably be one of the first steps they undertake, and I think that will actually, as weirdly as it sounds, I think that actually is like a very core issue to add to the whole thing.
Let me be clear, like, I think Matt is a visionary. I think, like, it takes a certain type of person to think about the future. And when we look at those big North American LARPs and how big they are, when we look at like the big German LARPs, right? Like it isn't us making a podcast. It isn't like Mark Humes making a YouTube series. The tide is rising, right? Like a lot of people, it's what isn't lockdown. It's like social. It's real. It's not a computer game. It has like it's for some reason now is the time when LARP is really taking off, and I think it will only get much bigger. I think when we talk about the days when we were like bear in mind. Every single event this year has been a record-breaking event for Empire. We went from iLARP being like, hey, you get a ticket to, it sells out in 3 minutes. Okay?
Sore spot.
I know. That's painful. That's a painful subject.
But I think like right now, like listening to this, there might be like LARP creators of the future or LARPs that are coming out that are going to be fucking amazing. That are going to change the fucking game. And it's going to be like, all of us are in this together, and we're all building this giant momentum as a community, as a society, and we're gonna. Who knows what happens next? I'm fucking really excited.
I think you start entering. It becomes even broader than LARPs. It just becomes like event spacing, event hosting, and management. There's so many possibilities, and in different ways, engaging with different experiential things that you can try.
But dude, I think it's like. But now is the time of LARP, right?
Oh,
like
for
now
sure.
Is like we could dress it up as an experience before, but now like the idea of calling it a LARP is like don't put it this way. When I talk I talked to a bunch of people about it, right? Like, just generally in my day-to-day. I remember... I had a blood test when I was in hospital, right? Yeah. And we were just shooting the shit and like, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, hey, I'm doing this and blah, blah, blah. I mentioned the podcast and she was like, oh, what's your podcast on? I was just like, oh, it's on LARP. And she was like, oh, I know what that is. And one of the doctors was like, what's LARP? And she was like, oh, it's... And she gave a really concise... explanation of what LARP is, and it was like I was like, "Oh, you a LARPer yourself?" She's like, "No, I just know about it."
Yeah,
that's
cool.
That's when you start reaching cultural zeitgeist type territory where people are aware of something, even if they don't do it. Yeah, they like it, but they don't necessarily get involved in it.
I think you start getting things like D&D's had with being on Stranger Things, and it starts appearing in different places. You start as it starts sort of perpetuating itself on the cultural and the social stuff.
Let me put it this way: like Matt Mercer, what he did to D&D, right? There's like now become like a way bigger thing. And like, let me put it this way: me and Ian were kind of Brendan fans. You know what I mean? Like your
Brendan's amazing.
Dimension 20 homies. Like Brendan's like, okay, controversial. Yeah. And feel free to yell at us on Facebook, but I think he might be the best D&D like podcaster in the world.
I think
DM.
I think Exandria Calamity is the best D&D series
ever recorded, right?
Ever recorded. It's a masterpiece.
I agree.
And straight up. So anybody who's looking for, and what's great about it is it's literally like 4 episodes. EXU Calamity. It's the best of everything you would want. It's literally like Matt Mercer in the background with all the lore. Yeah. Fucking Brennan just killing it with the DM and some of the best players you could ever have at the table. It's amazing. It's literally the best D&D ever.
I agree, and haters going to hate, but I completely agree. I've been DMing a Dragon Heist series with a couple of friends of mine, and like Brendan is my spirit channel. Yeah. Like he's who I like. I love what Matt did, Matt Mercer, but like Brendan's the fucking daddy. Like he's just the best. Like anyway. Sorry, that's a bit of a tangent. Where were we?
That's actually been a thing. Because we're going to move on now, I think, to talking about things more generally in the year, LARP in the year, and other things. But one of the things that's been kicking along in the background is we've been playing a lot of role playing games. We've been like just engage, like, and it's nice to get the creativity flowing anyway. We've actually had another kind of podcast idea on the go while we've been doing all of this, which has been basically playing through some different role-playing systems and playing that, and hopefully one day you might actually see that, so I feel almost bad mentioning it.
Was that the one you sent me?
Yeah,
it was really good.
I know,
and I've never played it.
It is really good.
I've never done anything like played anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
I'm going to finish editing the series that I'm working on, but it's been a lot of fun.
In progress.
Yeah,
I legit think some of the stuff we've done there is actually legit very good. Like it's a little band of players that I've kind of gathered together. Kind of came up with the idea and kind of said, hey, why don't we get involved? And like it's fucking good.
I think we should talk about it a little bit, because I think that will make us actually release it, because we'll commit to it a little bit. So I'm like straight up. I know you're nervous about it, but I'm just going to straight up say that basically, I know, Dave. But look, this is how it happens. Like, if you don't actually do it, then you're not going to do it.
Yeah, but can I say, from someone who's never done it before, it's great to hear how you play that, because I get anxious about, I don't know how to play it. Everyone else has experienced. And by hearing a game of it being played, I understand how the mechanics work and like how to build my confidence about playing. And I think that is good to hear for people.
Yeah, I think one thing we wanted to do was basically, because everyone sort of had D&D podcasts they've had a chance to listen to and stuff like that, we wanted to try and attempt something which is doing other systems. This is a very broad overview.
We haven't recorded 5e yet.
We haven't recorded 5e or any D&D.
Which one did I send you? Did I send you the one with the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tales from the Loop.
Yeah.
That was the first one we recorded.
Yeah, it was
and
good.
It's great.
I really enjoyed it.
Like,
it's good. Tales from the Loop's really good. But yeah, we've basically been playing through a bunch of different systems, and we, obviously some are hit, some are miss, or not miss, but some aren't as good. But I would say like some of them have been absolutely killer.
I think it's going to be very hard to tell.
Yeah, and it'll be your reception
what people enjoy and what don't.
Yeah,
but I think it's like, I don't know, doing this podcast as a project, and like bear in mind, like none of us come from a microphone facing world at all. Like we're not presenters, we don't do anything, we're not comedians, we just like talking and doing the thing. It's given us a bit of confidence to do it. I say a bit of confidence. I should have pulled the trigger on this, right? Like, but it's like, it's I
mean, bear in mind, we've been waiting a long time for me to edit stuff as well. I'm working on it as well in the background.
Dude, I know that pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Bear in mind, I have.
I'm getting there, actually.
I have the Beast of Brega's Land to finish.
Yeah.
Which is obviously related to our charity drive.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, George passed away during the making of it. I have huge psychological blocks about finishing it. I want to finish it, and it's like, but the kind of it's tough. I feel like it's happening soon. I say this. It's a big job, but I think once I sit down, I start doing it, it'll be fine. But dude, I and people listen to this. Artists, people that edit, people that have projects, like whatever that project might be, like we all feel that, and I know I'm not alone when it comes to something where you're like, fuck yeah. Like the creative process, whatever medium, if you're a DJ, if you're whatever it is, we all feel this, and it's like it burns to the point where you can't do the thing, right? And it's
I think as well, you go through spurts on stuff. So we've been playing through a game of Alien, for example, and it's really good, if I may say so myself. I think it's really, really good. And it's been great fun editing that together. But that's a whole process. That's a job to put it all together and things. And we really are trying to make a quality thing. So hopefully one day we do release that. If not, then this, at least we've spoken of it, and it deserved some mentioning because it has been a big part of our lives.
Do you know what? I think you're right. I think like maybe in the next few months we should think about trying to come up with some sort of timeline and actually getting it out. So
I think I will have Aliens on Neon City done relatively soon.
Yeah, Neon City.
That's a bigger job.
I think I have most of Ironsworn edited. We just need to add music to the Tales from the Loop. Yeah. Like, there's some great roleplay games that, like, I don't know about you. One of the reasons why we wanted to make it was there are so many roleplay games out there, and when you say, I play 5e, and people are like, oh, that's not even the best system, and it's all a bit kind of like, oh, well, that's not very nice. But to have the opportunity to have some really good DMs and new systems that we wouldn't necessarily play, and also, like, I think there's been a bit of a, for me anyway, personally, there's been a bit of an evolution in my confidence when it comes to RP. I've been able to develop some fucking amazing characters in the last couple of years. Like, the Dubois brothers, Hennessy Jones. Yeah. Like, these characters are like...
LARP's a huge part of this, right?
Yeah, and other people love them, and I love them, and it's like one of those things where... when we're role-playing, I'm like... I love it. Yeah. I absolutely love it. And whether that's roleplay at LARP or whether that's roleplay pen and paper, I'm like, fuck, I love just, like, I meditate on characters. I talk to myself.
I talk to myself all the time. I'm the worst. Like, literally, I walk around all the time having conversations with myself.
This is where I'm going wrong with my characters, because I'm so new to this compared to you two. Like, I think 2019 was my first Empire, and I'm not quite there.
I think it's interesting, because when I talked to you about it, I remember we had a conversation about downtime for Northern Kingdoms, right? God. And you were like, how do I do the thing? Like, how do I
can't write about myself anyway. I find that I'm dyslexic. I can't write, and you're expected to write something that you've got up to in between the events, which is only going to benefit your character. But I'm just like, whoa, that's just like being back in school, and
it's tough
can't do
because
it.
I think there's that natural thing of that you don't want that feeling of you being judged or assessed anyway. But when you kind of allow yourself to be free of that and give yourself permission to be free of it. And that's just been one of my big challenges, because I come from a very similar sort of self-confidence thing. I mean, like, I really have struggled at points to be bigger, like to express myself. And being Talis and trying to actually be what I want Talis to be, and like actually stretch and expand myself into what that is, has been a huge growth point throughout the year. And it's not, it's things happen very, very slowly. And I think this is true of many, many things in life. Things happen very, very slowly and then very, very quickly. Right? Because when you actually press the button on things and the dominoes start falling, and you have to start reacting to the things that you've put in place, and you have to kind of keep all of those things going, then you have no choice but to do it. But you have the hardest thing is always the not just the starting, but the perpetuation of the start. Right? It's like, and once you start doing that, and you give yourself the permission to do it and the okay of it, I think you kind of find it's just so freeing. And you actually, and this is one of the things I just want to try and do more. We kind of write notes for these things, and we kind of wrote like sort of highlights and things we want to try and do. For me, it's very simple. I just want to do more and better, right? And that's just generally how I think about all of this stuff. I want to be. I don't know what is a bigger version of Talis. What is like?
Oh my god, that's not even.
You know, but like
oh my god, that's
so
not even. You need to get stilts and prosthetics. It's going to be like, but
running for the phone.
I think it's interesting. Like, I've had like a lot of LARPs. I've got to play some really good roleplay characters. I've got to DM an actual campaign, which I haven't really done an actual campaign.
Oh my god, you've been killing it as a DM.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I've had some really good players as a DM, and it's just like the lads have been like absolute cutie pies. What I've been fortunate in is I've been like my confidence goes up and down, like as most people do, that it waves a lot of the time, right? Like you have highs and you have lows and all that stuff, but like my crashes can be fucking brutal. I've been really fortunate in having a lot of positive feedback, and I think it's like be it like being a DM and the guys being like, this is the fucking best D&D. Like,
I generally
this
feel
is
that way.
fucking awesome. Like, and it's just like, but it's like I'll get like messages of everyone in the group, like saying like that session was fucking amazing. Like, and it's just like, but and despite myself, like if I play the Dubois right with Callum, right, like I've got Callum as my big cuddly blanket, right, like to kind of bounce off. But
you naturally bounce off him, and it's so phenomenal to watch. It's so aspirational to watch them. You two just. I can't.
Callum and Dave is a real pleasure to watch, and I think actually, like, you're doing a lot of things that, like, I aspire to do, and I really want to do in a lot of different ways. I mean, you've really, really grown.
Me and Callum love each other very much. Okay, like he's like my cheat code for LARP.
Yeah.
Because literally, me and him just sit together. We throw each other some messages over Facebook, and then we're like, "Let's do it." And then we hit the ground, and then we're just constantly bouncing off each other. It's cheating.
Yeah.
It's literally cheating.
But it's not. But you know, it's not. But it's so good for everyone else around you as well. That's what you don't see, is how people can respond to that around you, and that gives people game. And you may not even realise, like, and it's wonderful to be around.
I appreciate that, but it's like one of those things where you're like, when you're doing it, it's like I really enjoy it, right? Obviously,
But is it like too easy?
No, it's more like kind of like it's really fun. But like going back to a Northern Kingdoms event and then finding out people are like really excited about the Dubois being there is like one of those things where you're just like, oh man, like holy crap, that's fucking amazing, right? And we had Gwent cars made by James Lamb, which are really fucking.
God. I had one as well. He's so talented.
Oh,
It's
so
good.
Like the kind of.
We should post yours up actually, if you don't mind us. We should post yours because yours is really killer.
No, in fact, we should do like the whole deck.
We should have a chat with him.
I should talk to James about it.
So, like, we should.
We should
so good.
like having like iconic characters that are like come out of your imagination. Oh, this is one thing I want to mention as well while we're on this subject, instead of just completely dick riding me. There's something about what I find really interesting about roleplay is. We've done a few different characters over the years now, right? Like it started off, we really got into roleplay. We went to Empire, COVID hit, and then we hit the pen and paper pretty hard. That's when we started a couple of campaigns. We did a whole bunch of stuff because we
have done D&D in the past before.
Way in the past, but I think my attitude towards it as a younger man didn't really understand like a whole bunch to do with it. But now it's like I play characters. Like I played this character called Teddy. That was like a noble. Paladin, and he was like one of the big moments for that was when I'm like telling my friend Benny like, oh yeah, well, here's all our characters are, and he shows up. I'm just gonna listen, guys, and he's like, oh, who's Teddy? And it's like, oh, he's this aristo noble guy, right? He's a paladin, and like Ben's like a proper lefty, and he was like, well, this guy sounds like a prick. Everyone else in the fucking team was like, hey, don't go talking shit about Teddy.
Teddy's a fucking G.
Teddy's the fucking best. Like, Teddy's fucking awesome. Like, Teddy's gonna, whatever happens, Teddy's gonna jump through that burning window to come and get you out of there, right? Like, Teddy's Teddy, but great. I won't hear any shit said about him. That's one of those things where I think there's one thing, like, roleplay is... Any character I've made... God, this is a terrible segue. Any character I've made is a segment of myself.
Yeah.
And you... And that's one of the hardest things as a role player to really realise is no matter how hard you try to create a character that's so distant from who you are all you are doing is... It might be a microcosm, a tiny fraction of who you are, but you're looking at it under a microscope. And it's like... It's one of the most. That's why for me, like roleplay is so special and so life affirming. Is the fact is that I can look back on a campaign and be like, "Oh my god!"
I think if it
my god, this character was me, and all I was doing was exploring this one aspect of myself but with all my friends, the people I really care about, right? And it's fucking crazy.
I think of it very, and this is very sort of artsy, but I think of it very Bruce Lee. I think of it very much be water.
Bruce Lee.
And I think of it very much like, essentially all I'm trying to do is irrigate a path to the expression I'm after. And I'm trying to essentially control the water flow of what it is to be Ian channeled through an irrigation of expression towards whatever it is that I'm trying to facilitate. And that's basically how I think about the characters that I make. Which I find much easier to do in pen and paper than I have in LARP, and that's been a process to actually gain the confidence to actually perform in LARP, which I think is actually a slightly different skill set in terms of confidence. It was one thing to do... The characters I play in pen and paper are characters that I think only now would I be more comfortable to play in a LARP.
Yeah, but that's...
And I've grown into that.
But what you've done is you've taken on, like... as you've grown... You as a person have quite literally grown. There are new like continents to you, right? Like there are new islands, there are new like you're exploring those new areas of yourself as you expand as a person, right?
I think I've very actively challenged. This has been my journey through role playing over the last few years. I've very actively tried to challenge myself to express certain degrees of vulnerability and self-expression that I want to explore. And in lots of different ways, and to give myself the permission to do that. And I think that's been very rewarding. Talis is part of that for sure. For sure. It's been a huge element. Doing this podcast is also a huge thing to actually the idea of just producing something, releasing something, and expressing it out to the world is a massive element to it. But getting but the characters I've got to play, and like being with a group of friends who are okay with you being a slightly emo-y, slightly kind of, like exploring those things and then writing that out and finding who that character actually is. I play a character who essentially, for example, is I took an Echo Knight, if anybody knows what that is, which is basically a fighter who can make a duplicate of themselves. Spoke to my DM and was basically like, I actually want to make the duplicate the main character, and that character is essentially the spirit of a young artisan who is trapped inside a robot, and I'm essentially two different characters. I won't get into all the lore, but basically
only Ian will come to D&D playing two characters at the same time.
And having a group that will actually let me do that, because I think it's a very and I've been very lucky by having a group that would say yes to letting someone play that character.
Yeah, but I think that comes from there's a lot of we came off quite a big campaign before, and we went pretty deep.
Yeah,
it's more like what I like about roleplay is you can go this deep. If you're listening to this and you're like, "Hey, I've been playing D&D and none of this is connected," give it 2 years.
Yeah,
give 2 years of playing a game or playing multiple games, and then realizing the patterns that start to get formed afterwards. That's when you start to be like, "Oh, I want to play something different for my next character," and then you're like, "Oh, this character's." Seems to have picked up a couple of traits. The stuff that remains is the stuff that's probably you, right? And there's loads of stuff to do with this. And I think it's really interesting. You're very much the rules but sort of player, right? There's always something slightly different about your characters, but they're always something really interesting. And when we really play through those narratives and start getting through the characters, it starts to express a lot about yourself, right? And explore certain narratives within yourself.
Yeah, so essentially, and I don't also I think there is something to be said for just embracing a hero's journey, embracing the archetypes, embracing some tropes, subverting them and exploring them in different ways, and being okay, I am going to play a growth of self-confidence arc, right? And really play it out. I am going to be the character who, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be literally the fucking light that will solve the darkness problem in this kind of mythical world that we're playing in, right? Hopefully will be the thing, right?
Or you'll go Dark Phoenix, right?
Yeah, or literally goes full Dark Phoenix, right? And it's but to go and have or explore all the vulnerabilities of what that is. It's a very much a kind of a disempowered story that grows into an empowered story towards the end, and try and do that and do it justice is quite a lot of fun.
I think this is something that's quite interesting. We play a very RP based game. It tends to be. It blows my mind that people play D&D as just a dungeon crawler stats based thing, right? I get it, dude. Hey. Everyone has their own niches. For us personally, for me, where the magic is playing suboptimal characters, is exploring relationships within that group. We've had some proper sensitive moments. I'm playing a turtle druid who likes hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Yeah, so good.
And he's he's from an island where everything's kind of a narco-communist state where there are no such thing as parents. The whole village just looks after the kids. I don't even know who my parents are. The whole village just looks after me, right? And it's but me being put into the world, and I'm the kind of innocent, turtles live shorter lives than everyone else. So at 15, I'm an adult. So to everyone else, I'm this adult, wise, old turtle. Whereas the reality is I'm a 15-year-old who is so far out of his depth, it's unbelievable, right? But the kind of the little sensitive moments that Moss has given me is
Moss is a really cool character.
He's he hits me right in the feels. I've ended sessions and been we'll be ending on Discord and be hey, great game, thanks Mark for DMing, catch you guys in a bit, and I'll shut it down. I'll just sit there
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor Moss.
Yeah.
Moss is such a fucking special.
It's a very grueling campaign.
It's a very grueling campaign. Oh my god, we're stuck in the fucking jungle, and there's never anything fun, and it's just people dying, and then like it's someone that we don't know is a person, and then we kill them, and it turns out that they are this person. They didn't mean to do evil.
The very first person I killed was like literally a friend. Like it was so bad.
So grueling. It's so grueling. But like I don't know. I think like and it's funny when I talk to people who like, and Ellie, you're the absolute poster girl for this. When I talk to you about RP, I think it can be quite intimidating talking to people that appear to be like just kind of like, I'm this fucking RP butterfly, and like I feel that now. Like literally, hey, if you said to me like, Dave, like we need an NPC for this game. Here's a rough idea of what we need. I'll be like, I'll just go straight into that. Like if you said to me like, especially pen and paper. Hey, I'll rock up. Like, you give me any role, any character, and I'll be able to just fill those boots, right? But for a lot of people, that's really difficult.
You couldn't do that. Like, I'm someone who looks like who could do that, but I'm style over substance, 100%. That's my vibe. Like, I'm not there yet with the RP. The confidence isn't there yet. I feel personally it's something I need to just get on with and learn, and it's going to take a while.
It's there though, because like I felt especially at E4, like add the bit that we can't talk about with the person we're present with currently. There was some really cool RP
What's now
that we had.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's just me. I just a shit stir.
It kind of.
You dirty sons of bitches.
Look, you weren't there.
Hey, look. You fuck around and you find out.
Yeah. I mean, you started it at E1, so...
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, you're going to find out.
I guess none of us here have any idea what anyone else is talking about, right?
You fuck it around and you find out.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
But I find that I'm lucky that I've fallen into a group that my personality kind of works with... our like style of RP, and it just works, and so that kind of like, you know, we're not murderers, but like, no, don't laugh.
We're not murderers. If
you have to say
we can
we're not murderers, but
it goes against our whole like morale, like moral code thing. Whenever we have our contract, but you know,
I'm shaking my head right now.
You know, we stir trouble to make sure people don't do bad things, and we, like, from my perspective, and you know, I'm here to facilitate that, and I think I'm naturally quite adept at that.
I think as well, and this is actually another thing you kind of learn as you go on. There are like your position and how you operate in and around role playing and other people role playing, right? There's lots of ways of role playing and moments, like when do you step into the spotlight, when do you step out of the spotlight, when are you a supporting character, when are you, and when you start doing this naturalistically, and you realise, the moment requires this, or I am driven to this.
Least controversial statement ever. All role play is a cooperative experience. Okay, everything about it, right? Like when I'm talking to non-LARPers about what LARP is, I always say it's improv with rules. Most simple explanation about what LARP is, right? But like, one thing that I've learned when I'm DMing is everyone's like, great session. No. Yes, I get to set the stage, and I get to give them NPCs, and I get to kind of... You give me the characters, you give me the RP, you get to give me this, like, triggers to fucking play on, right? Like, it's kind of like everything about this. And believe me, I'm sure I'm talking to people, me and Ian have had this. There are some people that they don't RP, it's not cooperative. It's like a selfish thing, right? Like, I'm here to express me and I trump everything else. Everything about this has to be a cooperative experience, right? Like, and I know this, like, God, there's so many caveats to what I'm about to say, but it's like, you have to be able to play with the other people around you, right? Like, you have to be able to, like, I often played, like, leadership characters in a lot of my stuff, right? And I've deliberately, with something like, especially with Moss, not be the party leader, right? Just to let other characters expand into that role and to see how it goes. And this happens at LARP, right? Like, there's a lot of big heads. There's a lot of big egos. And I think one thing that's really important about all of this stuff is, like, we're all at different points. I'm not even saying this is like a linear line. It's like very much more like a three-dimensional, where are we all at with how we're expressing ourselves and how like we're interacting with the world. And some people might be, where they get their RP from is like, I'm going to be battle commander, okay? And I'm literally going to be giving orders on the field, and that's where the fuck I'm at, right? Like, but you are engaging in becoming that character and exploring those characters. Some people, it might be like hardcore orc, mask-wearing, rattling fucking...
There's so many elements to it, dude. Like, when we've had, like... Just thinking about your character and my character, right? And the fact... We really don't see each other, and our weekends are very, very different when we go to any of these events, and you're off doing all your Yarm ambassador stuff, and I'm blowing bubbles, leading fashion shows, and you know, but
who is playing the game better? I would argue you, sir.
You know what I mean? And I'm constantly blown away by your game and the scope and scale of it. I love and I adore my game though, and I would not trade it.
They're so different and good in both ways. Like...
Yeah, dude. I like, and I think that's the great thing. There is no like the funny thing is how much you hate my game. He hates my game so much.
No,
I love how much he hates it. I love that you're like. Oh,
I feel like I've slowly beaten you into accepting my game.
The love you have for Ian, like clearly the love you have for him. You support him, but you're just your face.
What I was actually thinking about was the my game. And it being so serious. I care about it so much. Dave cares about it. Like when bad things happen, Dave is grumpy, right? Like not Gellert.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off. Like I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, fucking Liberty Pact and Boba. But the thing is, it's like this is supposed to be my fucking holiday, right? Yeah. Like, and I end up getting, and it's like I talked about this before, where like. I think it's both healthy and unhealthy. There isn't a binary to this where I think being affected by the game is good, but you should also learn from that, right? Like, what does this tell you about yourself, right? Like, and sometimes Dave can definitely get a little bit focused and a little grumpy if he doesn't get his own way, right? Like, so it's like
100%. Yeah, that's definitely
100%, right? Like, I can be a little competitive boy sometimes, but it's like. I think what's been great is kind of like learning from this and like learning how to be like just I don't know. Like,
it's a willingness to grow though, right? You have to have a willingness to grow.
Hopefully.
And I think like when I think about how my game's evolved, like for example, I have lots like there's a lot of fun and jumping around and doing crazy stuff at points, but there's some very touching moments, right? Like Talis is actually like I've had a lot of moments where people come to me for like grievance advice and stuff like that, right? And I have a lot of like crying shoulders and stuff, which is I very much enjoy that.
Dude, your year has been like I feel like I've grown a huge amount this year, right? Like with my RP, but mine's kind of like one of those kind of like like I was saying earlier, I'll do any fucking character, I'll fucking push myself.
See, I don't actually feel the same way. I feel nervous when you say that.
But like when you what I love about your growth has been like when I talked to you about how Vespasian was like, well, that guy's like a real exemplar to pride in the nation. Yeah. And it hit you, bam! Yeah. And it was like, and yet, like, you were very emotional about that one line. Yeah. Like, it hit you so hard. And it's just like, it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't know, like, if we both listen to music... If I get up and dance, like, or you like to listen to music that makes you cry, right? Like, it's one of those
I
things.
think also,
like, who's listening to music correctly?
Yeah,
like, is there one of these that is better than the other? And I think it's more like for you. I think like your personal growth has been. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch. Like, and it's a lot of people feel this way. People that care about you.
Yeah, I think I really enjoy exploring narrative, and I really and I really enjoy exploring myself, exploring narrative, and what that means. So a lot of my characters, if you like, are a permission for me to do that.
Yeah.
And I've really, really enjoyed and I very much enjoy the aspect of allowing myself to be vulnerable and express vulnerability. And one of the things I'm proudest with in the way that I RP in general is that I feel I'm very willing to do that in general. And part of doing that, though, is that I also have a really great group of people around me who at times will say that you're doing a good job, or right, or that we appreciate what you're doing. Because at times, I feel like maybe I steal a bit too much spotlight in certain moments, or maybe this is in tabletop RPGs and stuff, or maybe
you talk about this regularly.
Yeah.
Regularly with me, right?
Yeah.
And I used to do this with Teddy, because Teddy was
a big character,
ridiculously huge character. Oh, there's a fucking door there. Teddy's kicking the door in. Okay, oh, it's fucking goblins. And I'll just kick the fucking door in, right? And it's just oh my god, what's Teddy doing, right? And I know, I had that whole feeling, I really enjoy the moment, but then afterwards I'll be racking my head, being fuck, I completely stole that moment from other people. You start to eat yourself inside about what that means.
I've grown through it in a lot of ways, and mainly actually through I get to play a bonkers off-the-wall character in Dave's campaign called Kismet Omni Eureka, and he's this Professor Kismet Omni Eureka, I'll have you know. And he's this gnomish inventor from the future who's travelled back in time and whose memory has gone a bit squishy as a result. And is completely off the wall, and it's has strangely become leadership's the wrong term, but it's definitely a kinetic ball of craziness.
Omni, Professor Omni Kismet Eureka is an expression of how far you come. We were talking about earlier in this conversation about how you're discovering whole new continents and islands of yourself, right? And exploring those and inhabiting them and being oh my god, this is part of me. I didn't know this was part of me, and now I've realised all of these aspects of this is all part of me.
I think it's actually slightly different. There's things I've been aware of, but expressing them is a different matter. Mm-hmm. And having the courage to express certain things and just be openly, I want to play these characters, I want to do these things, I want to wear these clothes, I want to be this person, and I'm completely comfortable with everything straight down the line of what that means. I feel I have a great knowing of myself and the ability for myself to learn what it is to be Ian, and doing that through LARP and through roleplay has been a very rewarding process.
Live in the age of identity.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the age we live in right now, is understanding ourselves instead of being our paychecks or our position in society. These things have all been eroded away, and now we live in a world where it's more who am I and how do I express myself in the world, right? This is the great battle of our age. If these things were simple, we would never talk about them. And I think role play is one of those things where I think a huge amount of people out there, we're told a certain narrative from a certain age about who we are. And then in our teenage years, we rebel and we try and become and we try and learn. And then, but even as an adult, right, if you're listening to this and you're 18 and you're you're an emo kid and fuck, everyone fucking hates the emo kid, right? I feel you, brother. It's okay. But this is not something that stops as an adult, okay? This is something we're almost hitting 40 at this stage, and we're still exploring what it is to be me, right? And whether, and like I said, there are parts of ourselves that we don't realise that are there. We suppress certain things because of experience that we have, and then through RP we can learn stuff about ourselves. That isn't always easy, and hey, we're extremely lucky.
Oh,
right.
I think
we've got each other.
Yeah.
And
we've also learned we've made great friends with people like Ellie, with Callum, and a bunch of other people. Where it's just they get, like you said, permission to be able to explore these aspects and be hey, I'm gonna be this guy. Like, I'm gonna be this girl. I'm gonna be this person, right? And be able to explore all of the facets of that in a safe environment. Like, to fuck up. Yeah. To be like, oh, fuck, I went down this road and that's not who I am at all, you know?
Yeah, I mean, just so many different aspects to it, dude. Just, like, the idea that, like, I really love playing female characters. I'm very comfortable, actually, like, with my own sexual identity, my own, just everything. But I genuinely really enjoy all the different aspects of what I get to do and get to... Like, it's just been a very, very...
I came back from Flying Lead having a gay love triangle, and it was like... I've been straight as an arrow my entire life, and I went home and was like, what is this? What is this? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've had gay friends, I've lived in the gay community, like, I've been part of the LGBT community because I've had gay friends and hung out with them. But to really internalize those aspects of myself was like, wow. And then to realize, like, hey, like, I've been living far too binary in how I view myself and how my experience is, right? Like, you can experience a whole bunch of stuff, and it's like, we all live on this wonderful three-dimensional spectrum where, like, and for me it's more like it's fascinating for me to realize where society and experience have held stuff off for me, and then to be able to be like, oh, those barriers aren't actually real. And, like, I may be able to... It might be a few inches I want to move... Oh, that's a bad expression. Into that place. But, like... Or it could be miles. It could be acres of distance that I want to... that I've been holding myself back from expressing and feeling. That I can now explore and explore, you know.
I think all of this stuff is a quest for the finding of yourself. And it's just... And the courage to express and to have a group of people around you who, will go there with you. And a lot of this is about, please roleplay responsibly and respect boundaries and all kinds of different things.
Cooperative game.
All of that is caveated, obviously, I would assume, for everybody. But, like, there's good ways and bad ways of doing everything. But I think when you find a group of people who you can explore all of these different questions and these opportunities to express with... And that's why I like using the word expression. It's just like trying to find ways of exploring. It really is.
The irony of to really explore yourself, you can play other people. Right? Like, we talk about, like, when I talk to David Ortiz in that episode when we were talking about the idea of masks and how, like, in society... I'm talking about, like, everyday society here. We wear masks, and we're used to wearing that mask because we've learned all the stuff from living our lives about what this mask looks like, and it's very hard to break away from that. But by expressing ourselves as a different character in a different environment, we get to take off that mask and switch it for something else, and then to be able to see ourselves subjectively and learn from that is something so valuable.
It's interesting when you see the amount of times you do this in your everyday life anyway. Like, who are you when you're around work colleagues? Who are you when you're around your parents? Who are you when you're around your sibling? Who are you when you're around your best friend? The friends that you're close with but not that close. Who are you around acquaintances? Who are you in a professional setting? Who are you...
Who are around strangers?
Strangers, exactly. All these different things. And you are constantly shifting and changing masks and finding in different... when you're in a certain... hobby space, like, if you're going to a nerd convention, what do you like? If you're going to something that you're completely unconfident in, what do you like? And it's like, when you understand that this is like, you're not like necessarily a monolithic thing, and if there ever was such a thing, you are always sort of trying to discover it, and when you do discover it, you will discover that it is in fact a galaxy hidden within that.
This is what's great about the human condition, right? Like, for anyone that's been really depressed, right? Like, and when you view the world in a very binary way, right? Like, where you give up on everything. I can't, I won't, I am this, right? It's all very sedentary. Like, the reality is, we all grow and we all learn, right? Like, we may get worried that we get into cycles of ourselves, but because we're so close to it, we only see the cycles. We don't see the gradual changes of who we are as people. And I think, like, roleplay, be that pen and paper, be that LARP, these are really great tools in developing who we are as people and developing ourselves into like more positive and better people, dare I say, right? Like,
totally.
not all of us using those tools will have the same outcomes.
Yeah.
But like generally, I think there is huge potential to what this is, and it goes back to what we're talking about with like LARP infrastructure and what I see this as a future. Like, I see this as part of what we've been doing as a podcast. It's like where we're now, by making this podcast and you listening to it, we're all part of this evolution journey where we will. I don't know what that happens in the end, right? But like this journey, I know is worthwhile, and I can't wait to turn the next page in it and to see what happens next.
Oh, it's been so good seeing all of the other sort of different creative endeavours that have popped up, and all of the other different podcasts and things that have kind of merged onto the scene. And like, you know, everybody who listens to everything we like, all have subjected themselves to all of the episodes, but hopefully not subjected. Hopefully you really enjoy it.
There's a lot of talking at this stage.
Yeah, and it's this whole episode is very armchair.
I actually think this is perfect Christmas episode.
Yeah,
this is absolutely
This is perfect for driving home in the car listening to. It's what I do when I listen to the podcast.
Or if you're in the bath, right?
Yeah.
Like
or
put a bit more hot in.
Sort of pouring on, like put this on. It's great.
Man, we should actually give a shout out to a couple of new podcasts that have come along. There's To Have and To Roll, and LARPs and Tarps have been just great fun coming out this year.
Oh, by the way, I didn't mention I bumped into the LARPs and Tarps. Like, a couple of the guys that did that at the Flying Lead Nightmare thing.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah,
I love them.
really cool.
I think I've listened to 2 of the 3 Flying Lead episodes.
They're really well edited.
It's so good to like hear their perspective.
Yes,
because I was like hanging out with you the whole time when I was there, and like it's so nice to hear it from a different point of view.
Oh, 100%. Like, I've listened to some of the Empire episodes they've done. It's a very similar thing. And we love, by the way, we really love, because there really is, like, genuinely no competition at all, I feel, that happens in any of the community or anything. We just love all these other things coming out.
But the reality is, like, there are so many things where, like, people are, like, everyone's heard the term clout chaser and all this stuff, right? Where people will only talk to people bigger than them, and there's, like, all this stuff in this creator space. What I love is, like, dude, I love there are more Empire podcasts. I love hell fucking yeah. And I love the fact they are coming up. Like, literally, I spoke to the LARPs and Tops guys, and like they were like, "Hey, we listen to the LARP noobs. It's one of the things why we want to make a podcast." And it's just like I said to them, like, you guys are like LARP News 2.0. Like, you're the next evolution of what we're doing. Okay, we're already the OGs of what we're doing. We're the LARP book when we came out. Okay, like go for it.
Yeah,
fuck yes. Like this is so good that the we're in a kind of proto state now where I don't think LARP media is where it has. Nowhere near where it could be.
Oh, dude, someone is going to come along and do something. And there's been some things touching on this, I think, especially like in the YouTube space. And if you look at something like, I think it's Sasha's Journey and stuff like that, which is phenomenal.
TikTok, dude.
Yeah.
We're already boomers. We don't fuck with TikTok.
But what I'm even saying is that somebody's going to come along and just have all of the charisma, all of the personality, all the production values, all the things, and come along and do it really, really well.
I agree, but the thing is, it's like... you build.
Oh yeah, of course.
You build and you build and you build, right? And it's just like
you get to a swell though of a certain degree of creativity, and someone who comes in who's just killer, and that is going to be great. And I'm really excited, looking forward for that time when somebody and I think we're already there in a sense. Like, I really love like all of the new stuff that's out, and I think
it's about creating like a space where like LARP creators are accepted and they're supported. But then your own flavour of what that might be, right? Like, and I fully accept the thing is that, like, hey, we only have so many hours in our weeks, right? Like, some of us have kids, some of us have jobs, some of us don't commute, some of us listen to the car, some don't, right? Like, my love for the future would be that there is all the flavours you could possibly want, right? Like, and that might be us now, but it might be someone else in the future, and like, you know, us doing what we do, we just enjoy what we're doing, okay?
Like this is like genuinely true. Like, I think we would literally just do this anyway.
Yeah, we'd do it anyway if we weren't recording it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's so much fun. Just
but the idea of like what this is going to evolve into, and I firmly believe, and I don't think us as the LARP noobs is going to be that.
Yeah,
but that isn't why we're doing
and that's okay. And that's not. I don't think we've
hell
ever,
yeah,
dude. And
like hell yeah, we're the guys who like whoever is like really big and mainstream will be like, hey, you ever heard of the LARP News podcast? And I'll be like, who? And they'll be like, seriously, like they were fucking great. Like,
if that ever happened, that'd be amazing.
If you can dig out
people who are legit good, were
if it wasn't for that big controversy that Dave was involved in, like they're really great. Like, forget that later stuff, but like the early stuff's really great. Like, if we're that,
yeah.
Fuck, that will be the best outcome.
Oh,
like
gosh,
that would be amazing.
Be the equivalent of like an old like black and white movie.
Yeah, like what Dwarf Fortress is to Rimworld.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
that's what I want, right?
Yeah.
Like the kind of like,
oh my God,
we're not the
so
kind of polished. Everyone plays it. We're the kind of like, what do you mean you have to fucking type in code every fucking
pixels.
time? It's pixels. Yeah, that's what I want. Like, if the LARP noobs is that. Fucking A.
Yeah.
Like, but hey, to be fair, we've had a huge amount of love. Like, hey, two-time LARP award winners.
Hey, so that's awesome. Free time for you son of a bitch.
Hey, I might have won the photography award last year. No biggie. It happens.
But
to be fair, I struck gold with that photo. By the way, that was like God came down and just went. It's
literally put a god ray down.
Yeah, literally put a god ray down for me. Thank you, Finn, by the way. Who, by the way, this really annoys me. For the entire process of me putting my photo for the LARP Awards, I didn't credit Finn.
Did you not? You son of a bitch.
I am
the worst.
what I hate.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm so sorry, Finn. Yeah. I'm so sorry. You were my muse. You did the thing. You were the subject. I didn't fucking credit you at all. It's
such a good player as well. Man, actually, really, genuinely good, just fantastic player. Amazing characters.
Dude's a homeboy. Dude's a homeboy for sure. Like he's chaos and awesome and lovable and sweet. And I wouldn't turn my back on him. And he's amazing.
Literally was there while I was getting incited. It was just so good. Like we're just like digging in on all the little questions. It was amazing. Yeah, it's so good.
Okay, let's talk about. Well, God, we've been rapping a long time.
Sorry.
Let's talk about next year.
Yes.
Ellie, why don't you start? Because if you don't get in now, we're going to talk over you.
Are we talking about general LARPs next year?
What do you want to do next year? Let's talk openly.
So next year, I've got a lot of LARPs going on. What have I got first? I can't even remember. We've got.
Is it the ball first?
Oh yeah, we've got the Crimson Reaper ball.
That's very exciting. So you guys have organised this.
Yeah,
right?
So a couple of the quartermaster has organised this, and we're just doing a ball.
This is like an Empire event, right?
Yeah, it's an Empire. It's like a player event. I'm going to butcher what it's about because I've just not been very good at reading everything. But it's just a nice little ball for everyone to come and join in and celebrate the Reaper's Repose that we've built. Which is like a Reaper's Spa that we've built in Temeshwar. I hope I've got that right.
Yeah.
And so we're just going there to celebrate that and have a little knees up, and that'll be good fun. Okay,
I'm actually booked into a ball next year. Not this ball. I'm actually working that day. If you would like to hit up my employer and just tell them give Dave more time off so he can do more LARPs, that'd be great. But I have no more holiday left and no more money left, to be fair. But
just calling sick.
Unfortunately,
we've still got a few tickets left.
Yeah.
There's a few tickets left if people want to buy one.
Is there actually tickets left?
Yeah, I think there's like maybe 10.
That's crazy.
We've broken even. We've gone beyond breaking
when is it in the year?
It's the 7th of January.
Yeah, so, that's a hot ticket. You should definitely go to that. Like, we love the Reapers anyway.
We've got musicians and just like food and things. And
I love the idea of a LARP ball, by the way. Like, like a black tie. Like you dress in your finery.
No, like I really want to go.
Oh, really? You want to dress in your black tie, fucking whatever that would be, like silk, fucking whatever.
I just cash it up.
Well, we've also got the other ball.
We're going Northern Kingdoms
like player event ball, which I'm actually quite excited for.
I'm extremely excited.
I just want to see everyone from Northern Kingdoms looking fancy. I think everyone's really excited about that.
Me and Callum are thinking about going in our full plate armour.
So noisy.
Yeah.
Clanky.
Yeah. But it's Dubois!
Yeah,
You do it, but you do it with like a cravat.
Well, we're thinking about doing something. I won't spoil because
don't spoil it.
But we have a couple of things that we're thinking about doing to enhance our kit.
Oh, okay.
But we'll talk about that maybe when we cover that event. And in
Empire, I'm just looking forward to. I think E3 was the first time I felt like I was playing the game and felt involved in the game, and that was really good for me, confidence-wise. And I hope to just sort of keep going with that, get more involved battle-wise. I think the E4 when I was monstering was like the best time I've ever had because I can't remember what we were monstering.
We were Druge.
Yeah, and they were just like, you're the worst. I was an archer, and they were just like, you're the
worst.
You were great,
dude.
Oh my god, I had so much fun. I accidentally, on purposely, shot my captain because he was general for the. He won the general for the national block for the league, so he couldn't play. He couldn't fight with the Crimson Reapers. And again, I've probably butchered.
That's fine. We do that all the time.
It's the LARP noobs, don't worry about it.
But he saw me get ready monstering. He's like, don't you even fucking dare. And I was like, the thought actually hadn't occurred to me, but now you've mentioned it. And was given the permission to just go and fuck off and do what you want. And I was like, it was the first time, because fighting as the Crimson Reapers, you can't just go off and do your own thing. You have to be quite sensible with it all. And this, I was just like, I'm just going to go find him. And I just thought, I'll just shoot him on his plate armour just to, scare him just a little bit. And I may have accidentally hit him in the one place
he didn't have
where
plate.
he didn't have plate. And he just saw me, and I just looked at him, and I was just like, it wasn't a pod shot, don't worry. It was just...
it wasn't a pod shot?
No, it was just on the lower leg.
Okay.
So I literally, made eye contact, and I was just like, oh, shit. And then...
Oh, by the way, I've never heard pod shot before. I've always said nut shot. That's how I've heard. And by the way, if you haven't been to LARP and you see a nut shot or a pod shot, everyone cheers, by the way.
It's great.
Everyone is very on board about testicular damage.
I apologise, but it's great. But and I saw her and I was just like, oh my god. And I was walking back after monstering being like, if he's dead, oh my god. And I sheepishly walked back being like, I'm never going to live this down, but kind of funny at the same time. And then he was just like, you! And I was just like... And then it happened, that was James, and then I accidentally shot a Witcher in the neck by accident, another James, who did all the Gwent cards, and it was... Which earned me a fate token, just going to say. And I was just like, oh my god, what is it? It was just so good. It was so accidental. He just got in the way of my perfect aim of...
Hey, both Jameses, by the way, that you just talked about, are both awesome, by the way.
They are fantastic.
Really, really
they are so
James is at LARP. Pretty cool.
So good. But my Irish just love them. So, the
James seeking arrows.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah.
But that was highlight. But I think the going to Flying Lead really highlighted for me to get involved more with the action and fighting and not being afraid of dying. I think watching Callum, the way he reacted and just went for it, and I was just like, shit, I need to just get in the middle of it and learn to be more. But that's a learning curve for me. And
yes, yeah.
I'm really looking forward. This year, I'm being like, fuck it, my character, if it dies. This year, I walked through the enemy. I got stuck accidentally next to a ref in the coppice in Empire, and I was right in the middle of the enemy, and I just thought, I'm just going to walk through nothing's going on. No one noticed me. No one even tried to get me. And I was just like, I feel like I've cheated. But at the same time, I was like, well, more fool them for not noticing this obnoxious leaguer just walking through.
Out of the way!
My bow. I was just thought, if I just calmly walk through, I might get away with this.
That happens a surprising amount, actually. Because if someone looks like they're supposed to be doing whatever they're doing, you kind of do assume that they are doing...
Hey.
There's a lot of blagging.
What's it called? A clipboard and a fucking high-vis will get you into a variety of different places, right?
And I was just stood next to a ref, and I was just like, I'm just going to stand here and then just walk and I was like, I probably should have died, like, to be fair. But I think I just need to be more brave in, like, a sense of my character, like, whatever, like, I can, it doesn't matter. And I think getting involved, especially with the smaller LARPs, not being afraid of being, like, hurt and, like, loss of hit points, I think is a big thing for me. But being an archer, you don't really, I got hit once this whole year. 1 hit point loss because I'm at the back and I'm shooting people and I'm just...
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about archers, but maybe another episode on that.
No, I mean, like, you'd be surprised, actually.
Oh,
like,
would I?
When you have a general who's newly elected, who decides...
Wow, is that some shade right there from Ian?
Who decides that they're going to just mad laddery themselves in to the nearest front line.
Oh, I know.
You have to, like, literally, like, pull them off the line yourself, pretty much.
A solo charge behind enemy lines.
It's madness, and it happens multiple times, and you're just like, I love you, dude. I love you so much. Please never change, because it actually brings a lot to it. And I think actually when you weirdly getting kind of like a degree of command, I kind of have found I've been in more danger weirdly, just because I kind of end up sort of just having to go to places to put myself in positions of danger.
I will only take you seriously when Talos dies.
Wow, okay. Wow. This guy, he died once, by the way. He died once, all right? And he literally...
It's 100% more than you.
And his current character is, like, so cowardly.
To be fair, I've had, like, this last couple of years...
Is an archer being cowardly or smart?
I don't know, dude. This guy, dude.
Being the front line's not all that, really.
Face. I know.
It's only because you haven't been fighting for a while.
I know.
You're just
Ellie's listened to the podcast, but she hasn't seen my face while recording before, so there's maybe we should do
the
more
looks
videos.
I get when we're recording these sometimes. His dislike for Talis is so strong. I mean, so do you think for like other things you want to do this year?
I think actually when I saw you, I think it was E4 when I was like, I feel there's a serious lack of, for us, the league, there was a bit of a lack of skirmishes for us in E4. We really tried, because I really enjoy that. It's just, there's a lot of us that like to fight, there's only so much we can do.
Yeah.
And when I bumped into you, you had that piece of paper that told us all the timings. And that was, I brought this back to the Crimson Reapers, and they were like, this is amazing, how did you get hold of this? And I was like, well, this is from Talis Ashbourne, like, this is really cool because we get to see everything going on. And I think seeing how you have that, and I feel that's something we can build maybe a relationship over, like that information.
Yeah, I think definitely one thing I want to try and do is work on expanding what it is. This is maybe a slightly icy conversation, but we'll try working on expanding the scope of what it is to bring archers together, and being able to actually combine arms a lot more. That's a big part of why a lot of that has. Like, I'm actively trying to do that. Because and facilitate people into it.
Because there's a lot of, I found this year particularly, there was a lot of battles where you're not utilised enough as an archer, and especially fighting with the Crimson Reapers, we have maybe, we may have to do a ritual somewhere, which is, it's not my forte, but I am a mage.
Yeah.
Begrudgingly, level 2 winter ritualist.
I'm still a level 1 whatever.
I don't, when you were listening to you record the other podcast about the player event, and you were talking about how to, detect magic, and I was just like, that's like my worst nightmare, is I'm the only one who technically knows how to detect magic, when I've never seen that done. I don't understand how that works, and there's so much more within the magic ritual side of it that is just, for me, is not me. But I actually think pushing that and learning how to do that that would only bring game ultimately, and I think that's a way of me pushing out my comfort zone of just being a shit stirrer kind of, and I'm the provocateur of the Crimson Reapers, so I hype people up, I find like things for them to do, like especially new players who join us, I want them to have fun and feel included, and that's my role within the Crimson Reapers.
I've really found actually that's one of the things I've enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
Has been actually like when you do gain. Like what I have is like an unofficial hat, if you like, in any. It's not like it's recognised by the nation. It's not like a position like Dave has, for example, as an ambassador. But it's like when you have a degree of game that's coming your way, the funnest thing to do is to spread it out to other people.
Hey, and fuck hats. Fuck hats. It's all about game.
Yeah.
Like that's what the real thing is. Like one thing that's nice about having a hat is that it is a dumper truck of fucking game, right? Like when Callum said to me, like, whatever you do, don't die. This is like so much fucking game right now, right? Like this is great. Like but trying to find game, I think, is difficult,
especially when you first start.
Massively. We didn't find game
not
at all for the first couple of years, right?
Yeah, but a lot of that's growing into it yourself. And finding the confidence yourself to pursue game and to do things and just to talk to people, and like.
Hey, but I've known people who have been to one event.
Oh, of course!
Oh my god, there was
absolutely
so many people. The new players in the Crimson. I was absolutely blown away. Like E4, E3, E4 new players. They just we've suddenly got an influx of a lot of like mages and religious archetypes. Who just instantly was like catapulted within like all plot and stuff, and I was just like, they've all blown my mind, because I was like, this has taken me a while just to get where. I mean, not even that long, but like I got lucky with where I was, but like they're just so natural and just gone into it, and it's understanding these. When you recognise these people's strengths within your group and then utilising those, and I love that. I love making people like confident within. You see what they're good at, so then you like push them in a really lovely way and into that role, and they just blossom and instantly. And I was just like, wow,
there's so much reward to it, right? And one of the things I've really enjoyed, like with the military game, right? Like so much of it is just about helping people who want to get involved. And like I find myself like physically, realistically, I want to go to the battles, right? One to monster, one to play Talus, and I want to go to a skirmish.
Yeah.
And I think realistically, just for Ian physically, that's all I want to do.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, that's okay, right? Like that's totally okay, and I get to sort of move around and just hopefully this is what is happening. I'm trying to foster this, and by building communication networks with people, feed out all the other game that I could be going off and potentially doing myself to other people, so they can go and do it and have fun, because everybody wants to do those things.
Yeah.
The idea of like, from my experience over the last year, if you have a hat and you're just keeping that to yourself, like you're a crazy person. Like my team is everything to me. I would be completely ineffective if it was me by myself in that field, right? Like totally. I'm not even talking about like trying to get elected or doing any other stuff. Like getting elected, I hate to tell you, is the fucking easy part. Okay, like however hard that mountain is to climb, once you have a position, like you're head of the looking after Crimson Reapers, right? If you're looking after the Novartis, well, obviously Ian like offsets a lot of that to silver, obviously. So, but hey, like irrespective of that, but say if you like managed to get elected against no contest as the ambassadors to Yarm, you're suddenly like, oh my god, there's so much. And like what I really enjoy, like you were talking about, is like taking other people's strengths.
Oh, and just
like
seeing them grow.
Dude, I get to be like, I'll go and have a conversation with someone, right? Like an official or whatever, and I'll be having a hardcore conversation with them, and I can just exist in that moment, right? I can just enjoy the conversation, and then later on I'll be like, what the hell did we talk about?
Yeah.
And like Agni will be like, this is a thing, this is the person involved, and this is a thing. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so glad that there are more analytically minded, organised people in my group that look after my shit, that make me seem like I'll stop me in conversation. I'll be talking to someone, I'll be like, someone important, I'll be like, hey, this is really important for these things. This person, who was that person? And Agni will be like, this person. I'll be like, this person said this, and I'll be like, you're like, we're one engine, right? Like I'm like a figurehead, but like it's the whole apparatus of what I am and the group that we are.
That's precisely how I feel about the things that, you know, it's different, but it's very similar, and it's a very similar way, I hope, of approaching the game. And I think being able to filter game out to other people is just
I mean, it's also nice in your position that you get to go and do a fashion show while Novarches are doing other things.
Look, and you got people who look exactly. Look, you could say that grows the brand. You could say that. Dave hates us so much. He hates us so much. So you know what we should move on to, Dave, is what are your hopes and aspirations for next year?
I have an election,
Mr. Ambassador.
Well, currently,
also all LARP spanning, not just Empire.
At time of recording, I am ambassador. I have next summit. I'm up for election. Mm-hmm. My name is Mud to Yarm. They've publicly stated that they don't like me. I'm going to run again, and we're going to see how that goes. There's a bunch of stuff that I probably will talk afterwards about my feelings towards that and how all of that will be, because I don't think it's fair going into that before I talk about it. It's been a hell of a fucking ride, and I still I love being ambassador. I'm still not done with the game. I still love being the saddest Navari. I still love all of that. I love the press. I love battling with the Imperial Consul. I love the mistrust of the other ambassadors. I love how when I say I'm I'm ambassador to a slaver nation, they're like, you're a terrible human being. I love all of this.
I've loved to actually seeing the growth in you yourself and exploring it through the role, because I think Dave loves winning to a certain degree, right? You like the idea of coming out with a win, but the ambassadorial game, especially your ambassadorial game, is not about getting a W. And the version of getting a W is something very different to maybe when you went into it, what you thought. I love how you've changed your perspective.
I love an underdog win.
Yeah.
And therefore, choosing to be ambassador to Yarm is the ultimate underdog, right? Everything is stacked up against you. And, there are other ambassadors to other slave nations. I would say any ambassador to a slave nation. It's either easy mode, you're part of the Liberty Pact. It's hard mode, you're an ambassador to a slave nation, okay? I don't know. Like I've talked about before, the idea of having it's the narrative of that. It's about my character as Gellert actually being, as much as I like to talk shit, and I am a little tricksty sometimes, I'm still pure of heart. I still want what's best for the Empire, right? I'm certainly not self-serving, right? No. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm not doing it for all of that stuff.
Gellert believes in the things he's doing, right? And I think that's one of the things, and I think you said this before, having a hat and doing it well doesn't necessarily mean doing it for good, right? Whatever you categorize good as. Doing it well means just essentially providing game, right? And making it a gameful experience.
What I've loved is even when I've felt like I've just had the absolute shit kicked out of me, and I have had the absolute shit kicked out of me,
is
really I think it comes down to there was a Brass Coast senator
in this movie. Galadashbon takes a rare old twatting.
Yeah, very much so. But there's moments last event, I was walking along and I saw an ambassador to the Brass Coast, and I said, "Excuse me, ambassador." And she turned around and went, "Hi, sorry to interrupt you. I'm Gellert Ashbourne." And she was like, "I know." And I was like, I just wanted to say, I know that it's a very complicated situation, but I just wanted to thank you for your ongoing support. And she was like, it was just a cool moment where you can all the situation and everything, all the human stuff that goes on and orc stuff, I shouldn't be prejudiced, but it builds up to a moment where you're just do you know what, Gellert's really trying his fucking hardest, and even if all of those end up in burning fucking Imperial citizens in chains, he's trying his best, right? I've loved it. I said last time, I love it and I hate it. And I think that's still true. But I love to hate it.
Yeah, I think that's the truth of it.
Yeah, right? And it's I I feel like sometimes when I'm in game, this is so unfair. You're like going, hi, can I have a pair of twos to play poker, please? Yeah. And they're like, okay, here's a pair of twos. And then being like, oh, man, it's so hard to play with a pair of twos. It's like, well, yeah, of course, idiot. Like, of course it's hard to play with a pair of twos. You're playing with a pair of twos, right? Like, you got to bluff, harangue, and try and get it. And when you see the fucking flop, you want to hope that, like, no one's hit and they just think you're bluffing, right? Like, this is the good shit. Wider than Empire, like, I might not win. If I don't win, and by the way, if you listen to this and you're just like, man, the throwing service, blah, blah, go run.
Yeah.
They desperately want somebody to run.
Yeah. It's a competition.
But also just want, I think
I want someone to run against.
Yeah.
But I also would love someone who is, and we've talked about this, and I should talk about it now, actually. Yeah. I want someone that's passionate.
Yeah. I think that's what it really boils down to, right? You want people to just have a crack and just throw your all into it, and all of these positions. And I think,
I don't want someone that's like, I don't want to give up my seat to someone who is doing it for the lols. I want someone that's going to come out there. I don't even care if you're wrong, if you have mistakes in what you're saying, if you make a mistake,
and that's all subjective anyway. Right?
Well, some of it is, some of it isn't. But like, I want someone that's passionate, right? Like, if someone passionate is coming up there and being like, I'm going to give this my all, and you throw Gellert under the bus, I'm like, Gellert might be pissed off, but Dave is fucking like, hell fucking yeah. Do you know what I mean? You go, girl. You know?
I think that's been a real good thing in you, though, I think, that's growing, because I think when you took that sort of beating, really, in your sort of first few events, I think you, Dave, took it very hard.
Yeah, right. I did.
And
I got whiskey drunk. I was upset.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I think
whiskey drunk for sure. Yeah,
but like, I think you really learned from that experience and a few other experiences, and I think it's been a really big personal growth thing for you. I think that's been great.
I think Empire. What I do if someone runs against me and I lose, will be. Like, I don't know what happens then.
Yeah, well then you get to explore
whatever that is will be really interesting. I've been toying around with a Dave wacky tour of the nations.
I think you should. That sounds really good fun. It'd be good to...
Like, I don't even need to die to do that.
Yeah.
I can be like, Gellert is lost, and therefore he is going to try every single nation at the Empire.
All the flavours.
And like... Probably not Urizen.
I think you should. I'm a big advocate. I think you should start with Urizen.
Start with Urizen?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Be out of your comfort zone. Absolutely go for that.
The Urizen and me are like... And bear in mind, like, we talked about this earlier on today when we were hanging out, but like there's a guy called Lanius who's played by a guy called Callum. Me and him have like a really great relationship, like IC and OC. Like, I really like the guy, but he plays a really heroic, like, he is literally a hero at Empire, and he's awesome. But like, the rest of Urizen aren't the biggest fan of me when I rock up there, right? So it's kind of like one of those things where, I don't know. But then I think you're right, the idea of like, I'm always a big fan of testing myself.
Yeah, challenge, because you always talk about that, and I think by doing that, you're challenging yourself in these nations you wouldn't naturally pick, and I think it's quite healthy for you to like experience those challenging RP for you, essentially, or even like, I don't know, whatever the character you could be within that, even if it's just for one.
I like the idea of like, because I've thought about it since we had that conversation this afternoon. Like, I could do it as Gellert. Like, I literally can be still the same character and keep pushing it. One thing is for sure, though, next year, touch wood, no more parts of me will break, and therefore I get to go ham in the combat again, right? Like, I really like the idea of going ham again.
I just stepped back in after nipping off for a second. I hope you won't talk any shit about Urizen. I'm just going to want to stand up.
Would I ever talk shit about you?
I hope not. Like,
In fact, I talked about how great some of the members are.
Good.
But beyond Empire and what they're doing, like I have some pretty interesting European LARPs coming up.
Yeah, dude. You've got some really exciting stuff. Do you want to talk about those? Or?
Yeah, like I'm going to one in Prague, which is going to be very hardcore, which I don't even know whether I'm going to talk about because of some of the subject matter. It will be very much, if I do talk about it, it will be a very much like trigger warning type conversation.
That
like
sounds
it's certainly going to be very difficult. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen. It's very much in the Nordic style, which is extremely hardcore. There's another one in Spain I'm going to, where I'm going to be on a spaceship and I'm having my own little sleeping pod
so
and my own
I'm
little
so jealous of you,
jumpsuit,
dude.
and it's going to be fucking amazing.
So
I spent some
jealous.
time in Madrid. By the way, just generally, I haven't been to Madrid. I haven't been to Prague. Like, I'm really excited. If anyone's in Madrid or Prague and wants to go for a beer with me and show me around town, by the way, 100% message, by the way. Like, I'm well up for meeting for lunch or something. That'd be amazing. But, like, yeah, I feel like Northern Kingdoms is...
Got two of those. One in the caves.
One in the caves. I've got the
Chiselhurst
ball
Caves.
and going to Chiselhurst Caves.
Oh my god, camping in the caves. Wild.
The caves where we can't use the big bangs, the booms.
I can't use my bow.
Yeah.
I will shank anyone who snores.
We worry, me and Callum, about like when we talk about like certain characters and like playing with the wheels like off the hanging off the fucking edge of the cliff, right? Like the Dubois mean so much to us at this stage, right? Yeah. Like they're so fucking great. Like I worry about like when Callum talks about like what if what if one of us died?
Yeah.
What would Dubois be without the other brother? And we're not resurrecting the other brother.
No.
Like other people have said to us, like, "Hey, why don't I play the other brother?" And we're like, "No, like this is a closed loop. It's kind of thing." We're thinking about getting. There's one person who we're talking about getting in as a page or a thing, which would be really fucking good. Like a really surly, kind of like sneaky. I think should be an amazing fit for it. We're thinking about getting we're getting tabards made. We're getting
right?
and we're thinking about getting like an actual banner, and she can hold the banner, right?
Yeah.
And like all of that would just be like top fucking draw, amazing.
I'm so jealous.
Northern Kingdoms.
But what are you going to be without your bombs? What am I going to be without my bow? Like
the Dubois are like we started off as kind of cowards. But now we kind of like to fight. Yeah. So it's kind of changed a little bit. Like, we might not even survive the ball. I don't know. Like, it's going to be interesting.
Is it the caves are first and then the ball?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
I don't know if I'll survive the caves, because I don't fight close combat. So I'm...
Well, we're decked in a whole bunch of clanky armour,
I'll just hide behind you.
Yeah. As long as like Captain Portal's there.
Oh yeah, he always says.
As long as he's there, we'll be fine. Because without him, we would both be dead at least twice over. You know, so
magnificent.
Yeah, the and then there's like
we've got our halfling. Can't say the other words.
Second breakfast.
We're halflings.
This sounds incredible. So go for this. Is a LARP where you're literally going to be playing halflings at like a halfling feast, essentially, is it? J.R.R. Tolkien wrote some very good books. Yeah. This is very unrelated to that. Yes.
So nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with that because their copyright system is very hard. But halflings, we're gonna be brother and sister. Yeah. We're gonna be
obnoxious.
We're gonna be very judgmental. It's gonna be fucking amazing. Brewers.
Sounds so good.
Spend the day talking about today.
Yeah.
Ellie's going to make us some nice kit. Yeah. We're going to look brilliant. We're going to get some
pipes.
hobbit ears, some pipes.
Long pipes.
See, we looked at
long stem pipes.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, we're thinking about like vape pipes, but like a lot of the reviews are like, these are garbage.
Yeah.
So I was actually thinking like, why just a fucking pipe, right? So I can poke people in the chest with my pipe and like smoke my pipe and like all of that, right? For a weekend.
You get herbal stuff anyway, right? Or whatever. It depends whatever your fucking thing is. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's definitely a prop for.
Yeah, it's just a prop, right?
But it'd be fun to smoke that.
Yeah. Hey, and just for the lols, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's cool.
But yeah, that'll be fun.
No flying lead ticket.
It's sold out in like 3 minutes or something.
Wow.
Such the sadness.
So sad.
I don't even get to play an actual character. I just played what was so like Nightmare was a
dream.
A dream sequence.
I was just a dream. Eve was a dream.
Oh.
I never got to realise.
Man, I wish these podcasters would stop making episodes on iLARP stuff. So
iLARP's amazing.
iLARP's the best.
Yeah.
Well, no, I say that. I had a conversation about like what is best, right? Like Conan,
what is good in life?
what is good in life?
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where it's just like, is it Empire? Is it Northern Kingdoms? Is it iLARP? Like. In fact, like this is a good closing conversation that we're talking about now. Like, Ian, I know you've only experienced Empire.
Well, that's actually, I was going to say, one of my main things is I think next year I really do want to try and attend another system.
Really?
I really want to. Oh, I have to. But it's just realistically with the way my life kind of.
No, I love that the way you said I have to.
I have to.
Like there's an imperative. What from our conversations, which one are you like?
I think maybe Flying Lead. I've got a character who I think would be quite fun for Flying Lead that I think I've spoken to you about a few times.
Hey,
I think I could do a lot of fun.
I know
with
a couple of people.
Gun,
do you know
I
what
never thought would be fun. I was so against it.
Good.
I was just like guns, like, ugh, not for me. But when I came with my stupid cap gun and you laughed, I shot it and you laughed at me, and I just was like, fuck this gun. I marched straight over to the guy selling guns and I was like, I want that one.
Yeah.
Bought it, got me some blanks, and I was just like, shot it, and I was like, okay, I'm sold. Like,
this is the best.
Yeah, I'm
dude. When I came out of the church, both guns blazing.
It just sounds so cool, guys.
I have never felt more of a fucking badass in my life.
Yeah.
Even when I was talking to the Beaver Smith guy who was in the corner, and he was just like, Jesus, like you were on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it was just incredible. Like I'm Dave. I'm not a badass.
Yeah.
But holy crap, Hennessy Jones.
A gun in each hand, you are. I saw that, and you're just like, I'm in.
Yeah, like when we were talking about, like if I tell a guy to fuck off as Hennessy Jones, like it's
got clout to it.
It's got clout to it. It's like it's a whole different thing from me, right? It's like really fun to play. I agree.
And I think actually, like, the problem I have is that, as I say, realistically, I can do a certain amount. Like, I can do Empire and then maybe 1 or 2 other events a year, and those actually are probably going to be very based on the times I have free to do them. So it's not even that I might not necessarily even get to pick either thing that I want to do, or not necessarily. So actually, I'm not necessarily even limiting myself to the systems that you guys play regularly. It's just like I think I would be just quite interested in going to some other LARPs and just trying out some different systems doing some things.
We were thinking about Tank LARP.
Ooh.
Yeah, I did. Weirdly, that one doesn't like grab me as much.
But it doesn't grab me. But it doesn't like. I just think, do you know what? From my experience of now going to smaller LARPs, I have so much fun. But I think it's the group I go with.
Yeah,
I know.
That it just it goes from being good to like it escalates because you bounce off each other.
My nightmare group this year was like literally I was making like Tom had asked like, hey, we'll go for lunch or whatever, and I was just like, hey, I'll add people that I know that are going, and it became this chat group of like, these are some of my favorite people, like these are the people that I really enjoy LARPing with, and it was just like, I think that's one thing to say, like, over the hobby, however long we've been doing it now, like 3 or 4 years, like, man, the friendships that we've made, right? Like the kind of like relationships that I've made. Well,
I mean, Ellie, jeez. I mean, it's like just awesome people. Like
I met you at the
Shadow of Fallen Queen.
Yeah, and I was just like, I listened to your podcast. Thank you for making it because it was great. And then just chatted after that, and then just ever since have like it's just
it's bonkers, dude. Yeah. And I've met like genuinely some of the best friends I have through LARP. You know, like. It's insane. I mean, like you and Callum is just what an incredible love story.
Yeah.
I love that man.
Yeah, so do I.
He's incredible. Just what an awesome human being to meet.
I feel so special that he's my LARP husband. By the way, he's something else.
Technically, not anymore.
No, he's my LARP husband. He was my husband at Empire, but and I always say this to him. He's like, "You're my LARP husband." Like the other day, like he was saying something about like he was talking to someone else. Like, who the fuck are you talking to about this? Do you know what I mean? Like being like a jealous partner about it. He was just like, "Oh, just this guy here," and I was just like, "Yeah, fucking better be." Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those like, but it's really fun. Like, and bear in mind, like our relationship with me and Callum was literally like yelling at each other after drinking in Navarre at the Boar's Head, and then being like, "Hey, I make a podcast. Would you mind recording like the intros and outros with us?" And like going down to like literally, it was me and him in a hotel room. We'd never spoken before. And be like, "Hey, come to my hotel room and we'll record together," which is like, but it was crazy awkward. Yeah, but like like any good relationship where you're like, I like you, and this is awkward, but I'm going to keep trying because I like you. And the other person's like, this is awkward, but I'm going to try because I think I like you, right? And we kind of build this thing, and now we're full-blown Dubois brothers, deeply in love with each other. Like, me and him are like, we're such homies. Like, we're like, when we're talking about RPing together, like, it's like, the stuff we talk about is like it's so deep within character. We bounce off each other. It's like it's so special. I don't know. Like it's. I never would have had that if I didn't.
And that's why I feel like if you come with like us, like any.
I really want to. It's just going to be
fit right in, and it would just you bounce off everyone. And so regardless of actually what LARP, I think we could do any LARP, and we would have exactly the same amount of fun.
It's true.
But I'm worried. Like I worry because I've heard about. I went to visit Violet recently, and like we got very drunk on gin bongos, and but we talked for like 6 hours straight, right? Like, and we talked about a whole bunch of stuff. We talked about LARPs that she had been to, and like. Some of those LARPs were like, Jesus, like this is not the game I'm into, right? Like a kind of like a D&D played live with all the rules of D&D, right? Like was like so. I feel like I've been in a really fortunate position to go to things like ILARP, Northern Kingdoms, Empire. Like Empire's a little like it's fairly rules light for a fest LARP, but like. Northern Kingdoms and ILARP stuff are like very rules light, very like, hey, what do you want to do? We'll help facilitate that.
I think that's the kind of thing I want to do. But also, like weirdly, you and me, Dave, we actually don't RP very much at all together. And it would be kind of cool to go to a LARP where we actually do RP more. And that sounds like a weird thing to say, but like weirdly, we don't actually play.
Homie.
You know what I mean? It's kind of weird though, but like Gellert and Talis are actually very, very disparate.
You're 100% right though. Like we barely get to fucking RP together.
I hardly see you, and
the only things that happen is like who released all that smut about you, and who wrote your name in that thing.
Yeah, who could that be?
Who could that be?
But like it'd be cool, and I think that works fine for Empire. But I think like it would be cool to go into an event and to play off and bounce off you. But then it has to happen organically.
Violet had an idea, of me going to LARPs I don't want to go to, as like a whole series of where I get to go to LARPs where I'm not like 100% on, and then give like an honest review. I was thinking about, remember when we played Vampire the Masquerade and how like I was like, oh my god, all vampires are dicks and I'm not really comfortable with just playing an arsehole. Although that Vampire Masquerade game was insanely good, and I loved the character, and I loved how like no spoilers, but this character developed, right? And he was a prick.
You weren't the worst person at the table, that's for sure.
No. I don't know whether he was, but like...
I was fucking awful.
By the end, it was like something different. But then it's like, I'm kind of curious, like, hey, what if I did go to a vampire LARP? What if I did, like, try this stuff? Like, I'm kind of curious. Like, and I agree. I think our paths have diverged significantly while playing at Empire. I think
I mean, it's just about. But the thing is, it has to happen organically, and the characters have to fit.
But I think
I don't want to have a thing where just because I turn up at Flying Lead, our characters interact, and that's not what I'm expecting at all. But I think I think there's a certain thing to be said for a certain smaller player size event, which means that.
No, but bear in mind, I think it would have to be like a new system. The problem is, like, let me put it this way: me and Callum are like, we love RPing with each other. Yeah. We're always hanging out. At Flying Lead, our characters were very divergent. They came back in now and again, but we weren't like the Dubois brothers.
Yeah,
for example.
You went off and did your own thing, whereas we kind of all stuck together. And I noticed that you just go off and do your thing because you knew more people than us, and so
I had existing plot. Like my character was already doing their thing. Like when Will Dyer, right? Like, and I was taking him around, like. That was me introducing him to my world. But I already had, like, when Callum's doing his thing, it's just like, Callum, like, I love you. I already have this crazy love triangle going on with these two guys. I have all this stuff going on. Like, I have relationships with all these people. Like, this is actually my main focus. We got to have that huge, really fun, like, I shot him and he shot me.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Shocking. It was amazing to witness that. Just... Oh my! I still can visualize that now, and I was just like, I can't believe they just shot each other. It was, I knew, like, this is all stuff that you've spoken about already, but from my point of view, from seeing that, was just wonderful RP for me to witness, and you just, I knew instantly as soon as I saw Callum, something was wrong with him, and I can remember him being like, "What the fuck? Like, I'm just your mate." Like, it's fine. I'm like, something, my gut instinct was like, this isn't right.
All of us were like that, though. When he went around hugging people.
But it was just the way he was, and I was just like, something isn't right. And then I was like, to you, I remember being like, something isn't right. And you were like, I can't facilitate something. You just said something very cryptic in a way that I was just like, because I saw him chat to you, and I was just like, so you knew what was going on, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. I just was like, something isn't right, and my instinct was like, maybe I don't trust him, and then I'm like, maybe I don't trust anyone, and that's the paranoia. And I've never enjoyed a paranoia feeling as much as I did in that game.
People kept assuming I was a lusty. I was a lust demon,
right?
I just give off lust demon vibes. I think the mustache doesn't help. But, like, a lot of people were like...
I can't remember.
And the hair.
You kept going, are you a lust demon?
I don't know whether it was phrases you were saying the whole event, but there was something that I was like, you're giving me lust. When I learned that it was about 7 deadly sins, and we all were like, what's going to be lust? And we were like, logically, it's not going to be anything, obviously, that's like...
overtly kind of,
like, we were aware that, like, you know, they're not going to do that in a, like, crass way. Yeah. But then I was like, but if maybe... people were turning into these demons. So this was after we realised Callum was a greed demon. That was one of the best things I've ever seen. Like, it was just magnificent.
The most perfect demon ever.
You
for
shooting
him.
each other and RPing like that, and then him being exercised finally when I was like, he needs to be exercised. Like, something's not right here. That just was just... nailed it. I was absolutely blown away. And but then the way you were being... It wasn't creepy or anything, but it was just phrases you were saying, or there was something about...
Why'd you have to say creepy or anything?
It wasn't... No, I said it wasn't creepy, but it wasn't like...
But why'd you have to bring it up, though?
It was... Well, the whole thing was creepy. Like, it was creepy nightmare.
Hey, I'm just saying, by the way, like, I'm not a creepy guy, by the way, so...
But there was phrases, and I kept being, are you a lust demon? And you were like, no, why do you keep saying this? I'm like, but there's just, I don't know, I've got a vibe.
Yeah.
You know.
But this is a byproduct, I guess, of you guys, not necessarily, as you were saying earlier, because you were playing an existing character in an existing setting.
Yeah.
Who and in this instance, Callum and you were coming into a setting where Dave was already more established, so naturally your games were more diverged, right?
But it was that. But it's also that there was with that game there was like. I think all the religious archetypes were more involved in the plot, whereas I'm not one to get involved too heavily in the plot because I don't believe my RP is worthy enough for that, which I think is something I will build on. I'm absolutely okay with that being a a side character. I'm fine with that at the moment, and I feel my confidence will develop in that. However, I love to observe, and I really enjoy learning how people do it and watching how they do it. For me, that's how I will build my confidence. But so I kind of knew, like, Nick came over and was just, or Mordecai Black was like, do you know what's going on? And we were like, not really. He was like, well, there's the 7 deadly sins. And I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense. But yeah, the lust thing was just like, yeah, you're a lust demon.
Hey,
sometimes you just give off lust demon vibes.
you're a hot boy.
Yeah. I'm a party boy with 2 guns.
Maybe is that? I don't know. But we all read our little white thing at the end, like when the game was over. We all finally read it. No one had a lust.
No.
Which I thought
they did that with the sirens, didn't they?
The sirens.
Yeah,
things,
and I feel like lust demons. Let's face it.
I think it's good they didn't do that, and it's very smart. And again, it just shows how good iLarp is. Maybe there was, but I don't think there was. And it was just greed or gluttony and wrath.
Yeah.
And I think it was really smart that it was just those 3 that I was aware of, and because lust it's a tricky one. It's a tricky OCIC.
I would go so far as to say, like, if you are thinking about setting up a LARP, contact iLarp, talk to them about how their briefs.
You said their player brief was really good. It was
fantastic.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Like, we were reading Second Breakfast, the player doc earlier on today, and I just kept on stopping, being like,
so well written.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Like, this one line is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so well. It's concise. It sets up all the possibilities. It sets up what you can do, what you can't do, in like really nice ways. I don't know. I feel like, but then it's like, okay, I love Kitty. I love Johnny. I love what they do. Simon from Northern Kingdoms spent an hour and a half talking to us about our characters, and the Dubois would never have happened without him. And when I talk to him now, like, whenever I'm just like, hey, we're gonna do this, we want to do this, he's just like, hell fucking yeah. He's like so fucking pro us expressing ourselves on the field.
Again, I have like a character concept for The Witcher, and I've spoken to you about that, and I'm quite excited about that, but it's just finding the time. But
you will, and I think I look forward to it. Like,
I just want to go to a system. It would be great to go to a system with you guys and just the gang, and just actually. But a smaller game, a tight, like a separate system to Empire, and just go and experience some of the things that I think you've been experiencing. I think I need to do that just myself.
I can't. What I would love to see you do, if you joined Northern Kingdoms, especially, is to not be part of the gang.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you want him to be part of the gang
because it's just.
But
it's
like,
just easy
I would love to see Ian not be part of the gang, to be whatever the fuck you want to be, and go ham onto it, right? Like,
I think that maybe like I do want to do like, and again, I'd be up for going to a LARP maybe with none of you there if the timing's right and there's a LARP system out there which just happens to meet a time criteria. So it's really what it will come down to for me, to be honest with you, is going to be there's going to be a niche window, and somebody's got a game running. I'm game, basically, but it's just sadly it's going to be.
I would love that.
Short notice, and just it's probably going to be like.
And in roles reverse of you going through.
Yeah, it'd be nice to go something.
To Dave.
I would love to sit down and listen to your LARP weekend. That'd be fucking amazing.
And also, as I say, I would really love to go to a game. I mean, maybe a way of doing it would be to go to a game where we make characters as a duo, like to a separate system, and we go and just have a thing where you and me RP a bit more, because just you're my bro, right? It'd be kind of cool to have an opportunity to do that. And we weirdly. Haven't actually really. I think had Ifan lived longer, we might have done. But Ifan died, and Gellert and Talis are very diverged characters, and I think that's great, and I love that. But that certainly would be cool. So lots of fun stuff, dudes.
Hey, next year I'm like, we keep making podcasts. You keep listening to them. Yeah. We're loving it. Hopefully you're mediocre at least, but it's been a really special year, especially after COVID. Who knows what's going to happen next? We get to ride this giant wave of LARP.
The bounce back after COVID has just been so good.
Yeah, I've realised how much going from starting LARP in 2019, going as a stag do to a LARP, to Empire, to now being like my life revolves around it, and the joy I get from the escapism of just clocking out of life for a weekend. I can't be more grateful for having that in my life. I think it's so important, and I think more people are going to realise how important that is, having that.
I think more people are every day. It's been...
That's why it's growing.
Absolutely revolutionary for my life. I wouldn't... it's one of the most important things that's ever happened to me. I'd go that far.
Like friends, like the friends.
Yeah, that's
the
number
homies.
one. The number one thing for me is, honestly, the friends I've made now are so important to me. They mean so much to me, and I'm so grateful for it. Like, honestly,
there's certain levels of like, and bear in mind, like, I should caveat this with like, LARP is a really complicated thing. You shouldn't trust everyone. There are bad actors out there. However, there are certain friends I've made, and I'd say May is a really good example of this. Like, me and May, she's like, what, 20, 21?
Very young.
Very young. I'm almost 40. We have a really great relationship, which is just kind of like, we're just cool with each other, and we just like being in the world and enjoy each other's company. It's just like those sort of things. When the fuck am I going to meet like a 20-year-old lady who's doing her own thing and all that stuff? Like, I'm really interesting people that are into the same sort of stuff.
It's Orion is such a top, like, and is now like is a mainstay in our personal D&D campaigns. And it's just
gentleman.
It's such a beautiful human being.
Like,
it's been
definitely
great. There's so many people like that, and it's almost a shame to mention people, because there's actually been so many people.
Agreed.
Through LARP.
Agreed. And there are some people that I'll be like, I have really good relationships with, that we have very passing relationships with.
And
but
I
we
love that.
Enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, 100%.
A smut reading in the Brass Coast. Be
I
it
was
like
so pleased you came to that. By the way,
be it a rich person in Wintermark that I'm like, hey, here's me complaining about what it's like to be ambassador, to like whatever, all these different systems, all these different characters, and like, I don't know, like I feel like we've all missed that, and I think there's something about the modern condition where we all move around. Like, very few of us live in our hometowns. We all move around a lot. We all end up like living in different communities. To be able to find like our community is something really special in the modern age.
Dude, just on the level of the fact that getting back into the hobby again has meant that you and me have spent a lot more time together than we have for quite a bit of time. And bear in mind, we've been best friends since we were 3. Which is crazy. But like, but life like drags you into, like, even like weirdly, even a distance between Cambridge and Milton Keynes is like a barrier to entry to a certain level of interaction on a regular basis, right? And then having something like LARP and the podcast and all those things where we get to meet up regularly and actually have human interaction with like one of the people you love most in life is awesome, right?
In fact, I would highly recommend debriefing after the LARPs anyway. You don't have to like
meet up with your crew, celebrate it.
Get on Discord.
We have a Discord for the Crimson Reapers, and we have a group like chat, like live chat.
We should actually do that
to have a debrief like a week after. We do it with like the core Reaper Council, and then we have a larger one with everyone else, and it's just so we can just like debrief about what's happened after every event. And I think that's I'm the type of person that's like, I can't Discord, I'm not sure, but whenever I actually join the group, I leave it like feeling so fulfilled and like happy to be part of it. So I love it.
So both the European LARPs I'm going to, debriefing is part of the game. It's mandatory, right? Like, that's cool. Like
it's like a long debrief, right? That Prague one.
The Prague one, especially because of how hardcore it's going to be. We're going to have to be like, hey, like,
checking in with people.
I did wrong with you. You did wrong with me. We're going to have to work this out. There's no such thing as in the Prague one being like, we're going to have. You can put your hand up and be like, I'm not cool with this, and walk away. But interactions about what's happening in the game is not really encouraged. So after the game, to be like, hey, chill, talk. It's these things are really important, right? Yeah, let's kind of wrap things up. We've been waffling on for a really long time.
Thank you for listening to all of this. And thank you so much, Ellie, for joining us.
Thank you for having
Absolute
me.
pleasure. Like, oh man, we will really have to do an episode where we have you back and talk to you about just all of the awesome and crazily talented skill set that you have and all the different experiences.
Hopefully I will pull my finger out and eventually edit the mountains of footage that we have.
The chaotic build of the kit.
Yeah. No spoilers.
It was like, even if we never release it, just know that we had an amazingly fun,
really
totally disorganizedly
But you guys
crazy
both
day.
gained a skill there.
We did.
You both did very well.
Hey, I'd never used a sewing machine before.
And also I learned a lot about the human body and its dimensions, so that's good.
Anyway, amazing.
Remember, we have thank you to our patrons.
Yes, thank you so much.
We have a wonderful raffle. You can go and win a carbon fiber rapier. That's going to be fucking dope. It's going to be unlike anything else on the field. It's going to be amazing.
Made by Gnosis Studios, as we mentioned earlier.
Shout out to Gnosis.
Thank you so much.
Quality weapons.
Yeah, and just from all of us, just have a wonderful Merry Christmas. This time of year is like, it's tough for some people, it's easy for others, but if you're having a hard time this Christmas, like, know that, like,
we love you, man.
Hey, you're great. It's Christmas. We love you. Have a great time. The new year has so much to offer.
Hey,
get the fuck in there. Take it by the horns.
Hype as fuck.
Hype as fuck.
Yeah.
All right. And you'll be LARPing soon again.
Well, and I think normally we close these things out, Ellie, with a national thing. Is there do the Reapers even have a turn of phrase?
We say reap what you sow.
There you go. Reap what you sow.
Reap what you sow.
Blammo.